Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. It's 2026, January 5th. My name is Della and I love cross stitch, and I have actually a certain amount to show you this time, unlike sometimes in the past. I even have a candle lit to give a little bit of holiday atmosphere to the video. It's still a celebration for me until I go back to work tomorrow. I'm still on Christmas break. Anyway, let's see. Well, let's start. We'll just start with something I got for Christmas from my friend. I now have a cross-stitched ornament that I have on my Christmas tree. I took it off for the video. Yeah, I decorate in red and white, so she did the stocking in red and white stripes for me. But isn't that just darling? Can you see the little tongue like hangs out? Isn't that cute? Anyway, she actually cross-stitched a bunch of ornaments for her neighbors and friends, and she also crocheted them hot pads, which sounds like a really nice thing to give your neighbor. I didn't do anything quite that nice. It would be a few years before they got it anyway. Let's see what to show you next. Well, instead of showing you the other things, I did get a few things for Christmas that are cross-stitch related. But instead, I think I'm going to go through and show you the progress that I've made on projects. I did pull out several projects that I haven't been working on for a while. I started one new one, which I had mentioned in the last video that I would like to start if I could. I think that's the only new start that I have. And then I brought a couple of boxes worth of old projects that I consider neglected projects that I don't want to neglect. I want to pull them out and work on all of them. It's a matter of actually doing it. Okay, well, let's start with, sorry, I just for a minute phased out because I was thinking, wait, what if I'm not recording? I've been doing that a lot with my phone, thinking I was recording something and I didn't record any of it. So I just was double checking that. I'm not sure if I did I think I made a little progress on this from when I showed it to you last. I had started on the purple before. And as you can see, I've added some purple up here, and I might have done a little more with the red. I'm not exactly sure. I think I just did more purple. Just like you to be able to get a good close look. This is on 14 count cream or ivory colored Ada, and I should have shown you the dimensions kit, hummingbird and poppies, or hummingbirds and poppies. That was given to me by my sister. Oh, I should take it out of the plastic so it's not, it's easier to see. It says 2016. So I don't know if that's the first year that they did it or this is back when she gave it to me. That would be about right. I've had it for about that long. And I did just start it a couple years ago. Or maybe a year ago. But anyway, not long ago. Made a lot of progress on that one, actually. We'll put it here. And then I pulled out this old project, and I've only done a little bit on it. Using that 321 DMC on this. It's all one color. I'm doing a napkin that I started a year or two ago. And yeah, this much had already been done. And I think all I did was add this little bit up here at the top. It's a really tiny stitch that you do because of the way the fabric is. So it's more than it might seem simply because of how small they are. I think I am doing two, That might be 2 threads over one, or I'm not sure, 1 thread or 2 threads. I think I went down to 1 thread. That's why I have 1 thread with the fabric. That comes from this book here. So this has a bunch of patterns that are like orders and motifs and various things. And I know I'm not supposed to show you what these patterns are because they are copyrighted. Although I think this book is out of print. The copyright's still good though, right? So I won't show you everything on the page, just enough to show you that this is what I'm stitching. So, you know, I still have more to do down here, and I need to do this on either side. And I've just barely started coming up here. There's still a lot. And that's if I just do the one here and I don't open it up and go all the way across or around on the napkin. I don't even have one napkin done, so maybe I should just get that much done on each napkin before I decide to get exotic. Okay. Anyway, that book, if you are interested, is Charted Peasant Designs from Saxon, Transylvania, edited by Heinz Edgar Q. I'm not sure I'm saying the last name right. It's a Dover publication. There's the information on Dover. Anyhow, another project I've worked on, not as much as you'd think, because really the truth is, until Christmas, I was getting ready for Christmas. So I was only doing so much cross stitch, which is to say I wasn't doing that much cross stitch. And then after Christmas, I did cross stitch, but not nearly as much as I thought I would. It was the main thing I was going to do. It probably is the main thing that I did. But actually, the main thing was probably I slept. I rested a lot. But anyhow, this is my Anne Marie Bendixson Hansen sampler to honor my ancestor who died back in the 1863 in Nebraska. And so I don't believe I've done any more over here. I don't think I've done anything on any of the border. However, you should be able to see that I did a little bit more here on the leaf and I did a lot more on the stem. In fact, now I'm ready to start on the base. I keep saying I'm almost ready, but now I'm actually ready to start on the base. And I was looking at something that I had drawn for what I wanted the vase to look like to remind myself of what I need to do, where I need to put things. I still need to remind myself fully of the floss colors I was going to use. Like I need to look through my flosses that I bought for this project. I want to say I had more than 2 blues. I could have had 3 or 4 blues for this vase. And white for the detail on the vase. So we shall see. Not sure if I'm going to be able to get the handles in on the vase or not. I would love for it to have some elegant handles on the side of the vase, but it's going to be kind of a tall, skinny flower vase. So anyway, the only other thing I worked on really on this is I finished the M and I started the N down here. So let me just hold that up close for you to see the M. And I already have the candlestick charted once I get over to the candlestick. I need to finish the N and do a couple more letters before I do the candlestick. Wait, here's the N. So I didn't work on that as much as I have been working on it. One that I did work on I'm not sure if I worked on this much before Christmas, but after Christmas I did. This is my This Is the Day sampler. Sorry, I did not bring the magazine to show you what the finished project looks like, but it has border that goes all around the top, but not, I don't think it's on the bottom. The bottom has a verse from the scripture, from the Psalms. This is the day the Lord hath made, rejoice. We will rejoice and be glad in it. And she might have left off we. It might just say rejoice and be glad in it. Anyhow, the house I filled in down here on the side of the house. That was not finished before. And here we go. See, I finished that out. I can't find the brown, so I didn't work on the tree at all. But this is a great big apple tree that spreads out over the house. So I didn't work on the apples, leaves, or the tree at all, or the alphabet. I didn't get to that. However, I did work a little bit on this. It's a peach colored background to the top of the pattern. So I just went all the way over to the edge and then started going back. And then I worked over here on the sun, filling in the sun a bunch. And then I worked on these borders. Over here I worked on the gold border, and over here I worked on the brown border. And I added some flowers, like added this, and I filled in where I had not finished. And I started a vase down here and added a flower blossom. And something that I noticed, oh, I finished the head on the orange bird, and I worked on this border here, put some more green in. And I added more on the grass, I think over here. I finished the white on the sheep. I still need to do the black on the sheep. And I have a third sheep that goes over here. I think that's everything that I did. Did I show you these flowers? It's just so tiny, you can't really see much. Make sure you saw that. You probably did, and I'm showing you something you already saw. But it's so light. This flower was already here. I just added this one over here. This Belgian linen that I'm using, the MCG Textiles, has a lot of flubs in it, and it just adds character to your work. All right. I get so hot now that I'm 52 years old. So I'm dying in here. My mother will say, who's 82, it's freezing. And I'll say, oh, well, you may be freezing. I'm like sweating over here. So anyway, the joys of life. She went through this herself, but it's easy to forget. Anyhow, this is because I broke my glasses on Christmas Eve. I should have a new pair in another week, but I really didn't want to wait to make the Flosstube. Since we're at the beginning of the year, I just kind of wanted to get this made, and then I'm so proud of myself for making another video after just a month instead of going a few months. That if I want to do another video in another month, this is the best way to stay on track. And if I had the idea of going sooner than a month, like in 3 weeks, 2 weeks is not happening. But if I were to try to do it anything less than a month, that doesn't work so great if I just wait another week to do my video. So it's better if I make my video today while it's still the holiday and I feel like I can spend my time on this instead of all the things that need to get done. I really should be spending my time on that, but for one more day, I'm not going to. This is a project I haven't worked on in a while. This is my sagebrush sampler, and no, I did not work on the sagebrush. It's still not much down there. All I did was last night put in the letter L, and I'm not sure I'm happy with this L. You probably can't see it. But I also am thinking about what motif I want to stick in here, and I counted the space and said it's got to fit. I'm considering putting a duck in between the L and the M. We'll see. That may be too wide a space for a duck. We'll see. So here's the L. And see, I just don't know. It's so light, it's so hard to see. I tried a few different things and I wasn't happier with those. This is the happiest I've gotten is that. But we shall see. Anyway, I have so many other things to work on this pattern, but the way the stitching worked this holiday was what is in arm's length that I can work on, that I have either the pattern and the floss and the fabric and a needle and scissors, or if I don't need a pattern, like I don't need a pattern for this, then which floss is handy. And that was the floss that was handy, so I worked on the letter L, even though I could have worked on something else, because I thought I want to see how much space I have for the motif that goes in between these two letters. And I don't remember if I had a different idea of what to put in there. I could change my mind. Maybe I should put a covered wagon. It has to be a little covered wagon. That might be really cute. Okay. Now, in the last video, I showed this project, which is a Paula Vaughn design. It comes from For the Love of Cross Stitch. This is the premiere issue. I used to know which issue that was. And it's called A Breath of Spring. It doesn't say what year. It's like the late 80s or 1990 or something. Anyway, when I showed it before and I showed what I had done, I think I used the wrong floss color here. May have to take something out. You'll see when I show it to you. Can you see where the floss color is wrong? Anyhow, this right here is the embroidery hoop or the quilting hoop. And when I showed this before, I thought it was a line on the quilt, but then when I looked closer, I said, oh no, it's this hoop. So yeah, I'll have to get the right floss color and fix that. But I think I worked on it pretty much right after I made the video. I said, I'm going to work on this some more. But lo and behold, I grabbed the wrong color for part of it. Then this one I worked on and worked on, and then I realized I'd made mistakes and had to take out a lot of what I did. This is Reflet de Soie, Noelle Corbeneau, 1847. And I've been working on these flowers on the cream, the lighter color. So there's 4 flowers there. And this is not a cream colored fabric, but that's what I have here, a creamer and ivory linen. This, I mean, I think it's probably 32 count, but I guess it could be 28 count. Anyway, I don't work on anything most of the time. Do not work on the other sizes of linen. So I had done this much, I think, before, and then I did a whole bunch up here, but I've taken it all out because I was off, and I've just added a little bit up here. So these are each the different flowers. Here's one, here's one, here's one, here's one. And I had 2 shades of floss, which I haven't done anything with the shade of green yet. But for Christmas, I got another shade. So if I make a little more progress, I can have a few different colors on here. It's whichever project calls to me. Sometimes, like I said, it's whichever project is within reach. And sometimes it's the one that I'm like, well, no, this is what I want to work on. Oh, look at me. I forgot to put this in that project. Okay. I actually did a tiny bit. Yeah. I worked on various projects, but only a tiny bit on the projects. On my Celtic Arts by in cross stitch by Barbara Hammett. Where is that? Here. This is this peacock picture. And let me find it in here so I can show you the picture of what it's supposed to look like. Maybe it'll make a little more sense when, oh, there it is. Now this one is on a really pretty lavender color fabric, but I always wanted a different shade of fabric from that. So I'm doing it on a cream color. And I've been working just down here. And so these are, yeah, peacocks. And when I showed you before, I had done most of what you will see here. All I've done is add a darker shade of green, which you should stand out pretty easily. Oh, look, my shirt, my lights are shining through the shirt. Let's see, just fold this. All right, that's handy. There you go. It gives you an idea of what it's going to look like when you add that green all around. And then this is more just like, this is not the dominant color that you'll see. This is. And this is like the highlight to it. So that was for someone else that says they sit down and do like 200 stitches. Yeah, should we see how many that is? That's 15 plus a row of about 6 half stitches. For me, that's a good amount to do in one sitting. Like, there's just other things to do. Like, before I came in here, the plant got knocked over. So I had to go tend to that. Poor plant. So yeah, I don't know. It's not. If I lived alone, then I could just ignore the world, I guess. And I still don't know that I'd get 200 stitches done. I stitch slow. I think that's the other part of that. And there's always the mistakes and taking them out. And other people do like a gridded way of stitching, which I guess is part of why they're able to stitch so much and so fast, or they do the sewing method, or various ways that improve how fast they stitch. But I stitch what I'm used to, but also I'm comfortable stitching the way I do. Don't plan on changing it. So I'll just always be a slow stitcher. This is the project that I'm working on for my mother. This is from a Cross My Heart magazine from like 1990 or 1992, called Victorian Treasures, and it has a bunch of these different projects. I got it because I wanted to do peacock and the lady. The flower bouquet was nice. I mean, they were all nice, but Mom got started on this. I wasn't planning on starting anything right away, so I didn't mind. But it kind of surprises me that it's been 10 years, and like I got it like 10 years ago when Heinzelman's was getting rid of all their cross stitch, but I hear they've gotten cross stitch back. I'll have to check it out. Anyway, I'm doing the border around this bouquet, which I know I keep saying we need to do the back stitching so it will be finished. We really are going to start doing the back stitching, but have not done so yet. I don't know if I worked on this or not, or if I did, it might have just been a very little bit. So I'm just going to show it to you, and then the next time we make a video, the next time I make a video, compare. I don't know if I brought that down any at all. Let's see where that is. I think I already had this swirly gold. Maybe I worked like on this. I don't know that I worked on this at all. I could have worked over here. I didn't work up in the corners, I don't think. So anyway, hopefully the next time I show this to you, we will have worked on the back stitching, which should show. That usually makes a big difference. And anyhow, my mother has done most of the stitching, but I have done a lot to help her in various ways to be able to do that. So I have a lot of tied into this project, I guess is what I'm saying, even though it's not mine. But I have been, she had done the border, she just hadn't done the fine metallic gold. And she would have done it. She just hadn't blended it in with the DMC floss for the bands of gold that go down that are thicker, wider. And I said, I think it will make it look better. So it was my brilliant idea to take out everything she had done. I'm putting it back in. We wouldn't have done it otherwise, but I said I would. So I actually worked on this after Christmas. Heart's Ease Exemplar Works. Virginia, a Cumberland County inspiration by Teresa Baird. I have said before, I'll say again, I think this is about the most beautiful cross-stitch design there is. It's incredible. There's a lot of embroidery stitches in here. She took a period piece of embroidery and converted it to cross-stitch. She changed things about it. She added a poem that she wrote. There's a lot about it that's similar, but there's also a lot that she changed herself. But also it does have a lot of specialty stitches. I haven't started doing any of those yet, but I do have some floss that is used in some of them, so I might get started on that. We'll see. Before I had worked a little bit on the letters down here in black at the bottom of the poem. I haven't done any more on that. That's where it was. All I've done is add a little bit of green over here at the bottom. I'll show that to you. This is silk thread. I should have mentioned that the reflete soie, the vase with flowers, that's silk. That's a Vera soie, which I'm not crazy about the Vera soie. I like these NPI silks better, which is what I'm using on this project. This is a massive project when it's all done. It's like I could make a short dress out of this. It's huge. And I start in the middle, even with these things that most people start in a corner. And they either go from top to bottom or side to side or diagonal or bottom to top. Anyway, you can see I didn't do a whole lot. I just did a little green, just cross stitch. Let me show that to you better. This was one of the largest projects I was working on, but once I decided to take this on, I guess I didn't see any reason to not take on other enormous projects. So I've got a few going. And the goal is to finish them, but not to not start them simply because I might not finish them, but to start all the projects I want to start before I die. And whatever happens to them, right? They could all burn up in a fire. It doesn't, whatever. So that's what I did. Now that was a lot of stitching that I did right after Christmas, I think. I know, not a lot of stitching. To anybody else but to me, that's a lot of stitching right there. Okay, I am just really I didn't work on the letters because my system of organization is such that I don't know where the black silk is right now. um, when I find it, I can work on that poem a little more. Okay, I didn't work on this much at all. Like, I hadn't worked on it until yesterday. And I said, oh my gosh, I need to add something to that so I can show it in my video. So, like I said, I haven't done much, but I've started thinking about the other trees I can do on this afghan. This is my tree afghan. It's going to have 35 trees at the end, but right now we're just doing a cedar of Lebanon right in the middle, my favorite tree. And I had all this before. All I did was fill in a little bit of the light green and the dark green. See if you can see there towards the bottom. Any dark green at the very bottom and like a part of a row of light green down here. I just finished that. That's all. I haven't done any more on this. But anyway, yeah, I started thinking, am I going to put a cottonwood tree next or an aspen or a willow, oak, cypress? Like, oh, there's so many cypress trees to choose from. I like both the Italian cypress and, well, I like quite a few cypress, but there's one called a swamp cypress that they have in the south. That's really pretty. I think it's very kind of elegant looking. Never mind that its name is swamp cypress. And or apple tree. Like, I love apple trees. As that one sampler shows, that was the reason I picked that sampler, was that beautiful apple tree. And I like the scripture as well, but that wasn't the reason that I picked it. I picked it for the apple tree. This is a tablecloth. It's going to fit this table in this room that seats 10 or 12 people. Yeah, it's a big table. And I had done most of what you'll see here before I stitched on it, so I didn't stitch on it a lot. But the point is that I did get it out. Oh, Lord. It's something. See, this is a beautiful cloth. It's like a cream colored cloth. I mean, it's white, but it's like an off-white is what I would say. It's not cream exactly, but it's not bright white. So there's a motif that goes here, and then on the other side and in between are some deer that there's a pattern for. This is that 321, which when I went to Joann's to try to get a bunch of it for another project, they were not Joann's. That's just out of habit that I said that. That is not where I went. I think I went to Hobby Lobby. They did not have 321. So I said, well, I guess we can just order it online if everybody's out. Because we need to get a bunch for this other, let's see, other project. So this was already done, and I just added, sorry, this over here was done. I added some of this stuff in the middle, right in here. But anyway, there's still a lot more to do on that, like a lot. An inconceivable amount to do because I have these grand plans. It could be that if I get the two motifs done without the deer, they'll be good. We've got a tablecloth. But I mean, like, oh, so extravagant. I want to do him stitching on it. And this is my big dream tablecloth. Really, really. My arms are not wide enough to show you how wide it is. That's how wide it is. Anyway, I don't know if I can. I can't hold this sitting down. That's like drowning on the floor. Oh my gosh, I'm still gonna have to redo it. It's not folded perfectly, but so because I've made so much progress on that tablecloth, I decided to start another one. Back in my last video, I showed that I'd found a white tablecloth. Like white, right here. Okay, it does look pretty white this way, but this is a brighter white than this. This is still pretty white, actually. I guess I could have been satisfied with that. This is a very durable one, though. This is like a polyester tablecloth. And I had said, I don't know if my needle will fit in there if I can stitch on it, but guess what? You can. I did. I'm doing the same shade of red because it turns out that that's the shade that I like. So I am working on that one. I'm working on the middle. This one I'm working on the border. And I haven't even done full stitches. I put a row of half stitches, and that's all I've done. Right there. Starting in the middle of one of the sides of the tablecloth, and it'll take forever just to put that in around this tablecloth. Anyway, I've got it all planned. Which motifs? I've got it all written down here, not in the most organized way. Which motifs to do, but anyhow, maybe I can just show you this. Is there a way to cover this up? Okay, so the idea is to do this motif with this part. Yeah, I did it wrong, didn't I? Well, that's how it's gonna be now. I could take it out still. This was supposed to be at the bottom of it, and this at the top. And I did this at the bottom. I I turned the book upside down so that I would do it right, and I still did it wrong. Well, that's just how things are. Okay, guess what? That's everything I've been working on. There's all the things that I got for Christmas, and plus all these old projects I want to show you. So let's start with these. I've not even been taking good care of these because I've just left them sit out to gather dust and get dirty and whatnot. I have this lovely book called Birds of Prey, and I just love this. As a kid, I became fascinated with the country of Mongolia, and it's just kind of lasted. Like I love the Mongolian movies I've seen. um, I always wanted to go to Mongolia, see those two-humped camels and the Bactrian camels, the Gobi Desert. Well, more so the mountains than the desert. But anyhow, look at that fantastic design. And I was so excited a few years ago. I got my fabric. I started my design. Isn't that awesome? And then there was a spot on here, which right at the moment I can't see, actually. Time has faded it a little bit. Anyway, there was a stain on here somewhere that made me say, oh, now I can't use this. I think it's in the middle. I don't know. Can you see the stain? But the problem with, if you were going to stitch over it, like no big deal. The stain was not so dark in that regard, but a light red, like a pinkish almost. This design is not full coverage. So I think that there's some There might have been some areas where it would have shown. But now, gosh, now that I look at it, I wonder. I'll have to see if I can still see it. I mean, I think I still see the stain, but it is pretty faint. I didn't try washing it. Maybe I did try washing it. But anyway, so what I was thinking before noticing that was that I would just take out what I've done, which is not that much. It's just sad to take it out. And like cut the fabric so that I just make a smaller project with it. And do this, but just do it on a different fabric so that I can still make the design I want to make, still use the fabrics I've got, and not let that little stain like keep me from making the progress I would have made. So anyway, that's something I would like to do, but have not done. This is something that I wanted to embroider. So I also used this to come up with, I wanted to do a monogram, the letter W, that's what that is. For my last name is Wilson. And again, 321, and I started working on it. It's this huge piece. It's gotten awful dusty over the years. This is me actually using a hoop. And there was like a I can show you this because I was charting this myself. But I think I was charting it from something in that book. But it's not complete yet. That, you can't tell, is a dragon. But anyhow, I was going to do this W, I think, at one point. But then I did my own design for a W, I guess. I don't know. I didn't work on it long enough, and now it's been so long, I don't know that I remember really what I was doing. But I haven't done so much there that I couldn't do it again. Like, either leave what I've already done and add to it, or take it out and stitch over it with something else. Cut it down, use it for something else, and do the project on a different piece of fabric. I don't know. But not just abandon it, I think is what I mean. All right. I'll move that chair out of the way and bring this one in closer, because that's how much stuff I have here to show. All right, this box has a variety of projects in it. I was making this project for my nephew, who has since gotten married. So my nephew and his wife, they were boyfriend girlfriend before, but yeah. So this that I've done here, I would do down here, and there's green that needs to be added throughout this, so it's not finished. And then you do it down here, and in the middle a W for his, since his last name is also Wilson. My one and only breadcloth that I've ever stitched on. So I think it's really pretty. It would be nice to give him if I finished it. This is from a project. This is so sad. When I moved, now I don't know if this happened when I moved from Colorado to Utah or under some other circumstance, but it got water damaged. Is that not so sad? I love this book. I don't know why I haven't been stitching everything out of this book, but I did finally a few years ago, or several years ago. Less than 10 years ago, I think. More than 5, I would guess. Started working on that. I don't know what the right side of it is until we Probably like that because that's the green. Um, I don't know if this is out of print, but Wildflower Designs for Needlework, Adelie Winter, Charts, Histories, and Watercolors of 29 Wildflowers, Oxmoor House. There's the ISBN number. Like, I just have to show you this book. This is an incredible book. Yeah, it's amazing. So I'm doing none of those. There's more in here. Like there's irises. Those are not my favorite kind of iris. You would think I wouldn't care, but I do care. I like the bearded irises. I think my friend said those are Dutch irises. Um, not the little teeny tiny ones. The great big irises that are just like, oh, beautiful. It's not these. And then see, it has the watercolors and then all this information. Both species have oval-shaped leaves that are glossy and tinted. Like they go and she explains about all of these flowers. It's really cool. Yes, I want to make all of these every which way you can. I haven't been, but I would like to. Like, I love this. You could come up with your own cross stitch based on the watercolors that would be different from her designs. Like, there's a ton of these watercolors. I'm so sad that this book is water damaged. It was so nice before that. It's not these. More watercolors. You know, if you do the wildflowers where you live, they're not necessarily the wildflowers people have somewhere else, or the species, or the like size or height or the vibrancy. So it's kind of neat to get the pattern or design that someone from some other part of the world has, because for my own self, my own mind of what a wildflower is or looks like is different because I live up, at a high altitude in a semi-arid climate where we don't have a lot of what they have in other parts of the world. But then, because we don't have, look at how pretty that is. That is like, those are violets, I think, aren't they? This up here is a passion flower. Yeah, those were violets on that other thing. And then here are the charts. So I can't show you the charts, but this is really awesome. She has a bunch of information in the back to tell you how to do it in needlepoint instead of cross stitch. This isn't the one that gives you a pattern for making it into a Afghan, of course. There's another wildflower book I have, not the one I've already done a video on. Another one that's kind of big like this that also has a pattern for how to like lay out the different wildflowers to have a. How come I didn't find that in here? Maybe it's from a different book. Well, anyway, I don't know. I'm starting to lay these everywhere. And now I don't have a system. I did have a system. Okay. Actually, this box, maybe this is This is floral cross stitch. Hairbrush. Yeah, but like it's almost the same as the one that I usually wear. This goes with that other project. So for charting your own projects. It's not, they've not been kept in here. But it's also handy for writing things like cut hole in dining room ceiling. What the heck? Why were we going to cut a hole in the dining room ceiling? List is what I'm trying to say. Oh, the pattern for the bread cloth came from online. It came from Pinterest, I think. And I just printed it off and worked from that. Just making sure I don't have any little things hidden away in here that I would want to include. And I don't. That box is mostly not cross stitch, but we would have missed. Like I forgot I even had this book. Um, this is a great book. This is a hardcover. Eleanor Groskowski Floral Cross Stitch. Paid $3 for it. Either I paid $3 for it or my friend got it for me. Some things are long enough ago that I've forgotten what happened. So one of the nice things in this book that most books don't have is a color chart. Unfortunately, it's for MEZ embroidery. It's not for like DMC. But I guess you could match it to DMC. Anyhow, the pictures are right next to the charts. You know, I'm just going to see if we haven't got this thing that I just was showing you so I can show you what it looks like. Well, I would like to show this to you. If I can mainly cover up the chart. Look, snowdrops. Those are beautiful. And this one is bachelor buttons. Isn't that darling? And I'm trying to be a little better about covering the chart so I'm not exposing it unfairly. Purposes, I think. Those should be coming up in another month or so, unless it never gets colder, and then maybe they'll show up sooner. It just hasn't really been too wintry here. Been very mild. Almost no snow. It's snow in the mountains if you want to come skiing here in Utah. I should be glad I haven't had to shovel any walks. Isn't that cute? Those are Sweet William, is what they're called. Oh, sorry that this is going to be such a long video just because I'm slow at what I do. I told my parents, don't bother me for a while, even if you think I should be done, because it's going to take me a while. And my mother said, you don't want your video to be too long because then people won't want to watch it. And I thought, I don't know, there's people that have 3-hour long videos and 20,000 views. Not that that's going to be me, but isn't that cute? That's Forsythia. Yeah, you can correct me if I'm saying it wrong. Forsythia. Besides which, all the people in Australia, Canada, South Africa, and England say it different from how we say it here. And if you go to the South, they say it different. I don't know. But it would be nice if I said it right for someplace. That is larkspur. Oh. Something can look very different on fabric than what you picture in your mind. Okay, this is Dog's Tooth Violet. And tiny little design. This is kind of a thick book. I wasn't exactly planning on doing this, but I forgot about these flower books being in here. and I feel compelled to show them to you. Gaillardia? Like I said, I don't know that I'm saying it right. This one is just violets. Oh, here we go. This is what I'm doing. Chicory. Yeah, no, I didn't recognize it as chicory. I just knew it was cornflower blue. Um, and there, that's correct the way I was showing it before. That's going to be really cute. I just loved that blue on that burgundy color fabric. And now I'm not sure if that goes with the red cloth, those flosses. I think they go with the red cloth, not with this. Do I know which color goes with this? I do not. I will have fun figuring that out so that I can stitch on it. That means a trip to Hobby Lobby, and that will be fun. Possibly Michael's. Less fun because they need to train their staff better at our Michael's because they were not nice when I was there before. That doesn't mean they could have really nice staff at the Michael's the next town over. It's just those were pansies that I just showed you. Sorry. Oh, one of my favorites. This is called the Dog Rose. It's just lovely. Okay. Am I really showing you all these? Because this is really big. Now that I've shown you the pattern that we're doing, I'm going to stop. It's been a lot, and I'm worried that I'll get too tired to show you everything. Maybe I'll show you the rest of the patterns another time. I apologize for copying out on you, but I'm tired. There we go. And now that box is done. It's only because, like, I have another box over here. Not this box. This has got quilting stuff in it. I'm going to show you a whole bunch of quilting stuff. I bought a piece of fabric for a quilt I'm making that I wanted to show you. And so I did just want to show you a couple of the fabrics I already have so you can see how they go together. All right. Gotta have this just right. Some of these projects I haven't worked on in so long. I don't know what they are, but when I figure out what they are, I will finish them. This one I do know what this is. This is a, you know, the Hummel characters. There's cross-stitch designs. And this is one of the Hummel figures. It's either the one for the apple tree or I think it's the one for the apple tree. So I think this is a child sitting in an apple tree. So I do have the chart. It's just 14 count, Ada. I can work on that at some point. When I come across the pattern, maybe I'll know what this is. But right now, I don't know what it is. It's pretty, whatever it is. About more than 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago, I had this funny idea that I would sell finished cross stitch online. My friend said, "You'll never get it done." Oh, I don't know if that's right side up or what. So apparently she was right because this is like how much I've done. Oh, finished projects. Like, oh my gosh, I think this is a completely finished project that just needs to be washed and pressed and framed or something. Okay, bear with me because you're going to be able to see through to the floss on the back, and that's just how it is. So my mother had this lovely family tree pattern that she had done back in the 80s for, I don't know. Anyway, it has her family on it, like her as a child with her brothers and sisters and her parents and her grandparents, I think. So I made one for my mom that had her mother as a child with her siblings, so my mother's aunts and uncles and her grandparents, and then her my great grandparents, no, her great grandparents, right? My great great grandparents. Anyway, then that was for 5 or 6 kids, right? My grandmother, there were 6 kids in the family that she was in. She was the oldest of 6. Then I made one that has the other side of the family. On my dad's side, it has his father as a child. He was the oldest. No, he was not the oldest boy. My gosh, he's one of the younger, somewhere in the middle. Anyway, they had 10 kids in their family. So I made it a taller tree. And I changed, instead of green leaves, they're like autumn leaves. And when my mother did it, there's like another heart in the middle. But for some reason, I didn't want that. I don't know what's wrong with me. I think it would have looked better filled in. But mine, on the one I did for her and on this one and any others I've done, I think that my hearts are not filled in. So anyway. And then, so this is kind of like genealogy, right? It does not have my initials anywhere. But isn't that awesome? So that just needs to be framed and like put up somewhere, I think. If I had thought I was giving this to anybody, no, I'm keeping this for myself. I love that. So there's oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, this is back when I put tape on the edges. I probably will just, after trying to take tape off, after it's been on for what, 20 years, 15 years, 25 years, however long, not less than 10. Yeah, if the tape comes off, the sticky residue like stays on because it's been on here for so long. Uh, it's just not worth the work to not have the result you want at the end. So I'll probably just cut it off and then frame it. I think I have enough. A little tight there at the top, but plenty on the sides and the bottom. Anyway, my back is not super tidy. I'm improving. I do better than that now, but I could still do better than I do compared to when I see other people show their back and I'm like, that could be your front. It's so neat. Okay. Years ago, yeah. I'm making a lot of Christmas stuff. These are all projects that I have. Okay, this one is an embroidery project that I started. I think I have a white one as well. I don't know. I have another stocking where I started doing embroidery. I traced all these snowflake designs. The idea is to embroider it. Yeah, I'm not thrilled with the embroidery on that. I almost would like to just start over. I'm so discouraged with it. But I like the idea of having an embroidered stocking with snowflakes or whatever, but just not happy with that. But so I have plenty of flannel. I have white and I have red. So I have these for cross stitching, and I have patterns that go on towels, like kitchen towels. This would be a great, either one of these would be great for Christmas. Like I said, I do white stuff for Christmas. That's kind of cream color. So I got a bunch of these fabrics for making ornaments. They don't all have to be, the idea was not necessarily to do cross stitch, but just to have all these great fabrics to make Christmas ornaments of whatever kind. I just haven't done it. And like I said, plenty of the red and white flannel. Anyway, I guess there's not as much stuff in here. This is the white stocking that I have not worked on. So there we go. I won't restart the red one. I'll just make the white one. I can still make a red one. But anyway, now to just pick what to put on there. I had everything. Um, so, oh, we are almost to the end of everything I have to show you. Thank you for if you've watched the whole video. I don't usually do videos this long. Look, our candle is still burning. I have to put this water where I don't have to worry that it will spill and ruin my mother's puzzle, which is on the back of the table, my projects and patterns, and my father's bills, and my computer. I already showed you this. Oh, I didn't show you this. This was in that box. I don't know if my mother had this, where this came from, if my friend gave it to me. Anyway, it's got this beautiful lace on it, and it just needs to be embroidered. Embroidery is something I am very, very beginner level at. And when I see this, what I like to picture is something that looks really pretty. And I'm concerned if I embroider on this to begin with, it will not be very pretty at the end. It will be very beginner. But I should just go ahead and do it because when I get better, I can make something even prettier. It's just, look at that. That lace is really pretty. Anyway, it's roses. Now, I look at a rose like that and think of a red rose. But I don't know that it has to be a red rose. I guess I could do. This dining room is peach colored, but it doesn't have to be to go in here. It could go somewhere else. It's definitely going to be for me to keep. If I go to that work, I want someone who will appreciate it, and no one will appreciate it more than I will. And then when I die and people are getting rid of stuff, they can just give it away or throw it away, whatever they want to do. Okay, this is one of the things that I got for Christmas. A certain amount of what I got for Christmas is because I'm not married. I'm on my own. I mean, I live with my elderly parents. They're homebound. And so I spend some money on myself for Christmas. And yes, I wrapped Christmas presents to open the next day because I wrapped them Christmas Eve. But when I say I wrapped them Christmas Eve, I finished about 4 a.m. So I wrapped them to open a few hours later. At least one person kind of laughed and thought that was funny that I was wrapping my own presents. But you just have to spend your whole life being single to appreciate why you buy yourself some things at Christmas and wrap them, including this. I wrapped this great big huge thing. So what I do with this is to be able to put my cross stitch projects in them. Yeah, I have lots of things to put stuff in. I still need more because I have a lot. So this is so that I can have a place to keep those. Right now I have the stuff I got for Christmas. But I'm going to take those out and show you. I wanted to show you this, that I got something to kind of transport or store my cross stitch stuff. So, but my mother did say, well, we need to get you something for Christmas. And she said, who can I get to do that? And I said, the people who are not doing any of the other things. I don't think you can get anybody to do it. And I'm too busy and too tired to go buy stuff for myself. I said I bought stuff for myself, but to make sure I got stuff that she wanted to get me. I was at the time thinking, I still need to buy food for Christmas Eve dinner, and I have gifts I need to buy to give. So I said, but you could order stuff online. And then they just gave me money to spend, which I still need to do. That happens every year, and it's just, I still have the money from last year that I didn't spend. Anyway, I guess I could put it together with the money from this year. Get something good. Anyway, but I showed her, I said, I would really like this. This is my first long dog sampler. It's called Bois le Duc, which is a place in Belgium, or is it in Belgium? I think it's in Belgium. I didn't know Long Dog Samplers was a French designer, but apparently. Anyhow, it's just paper, and the rest of it is the pattern. But what's kind of neat, well, not kind of, very neat, is they like explain it. So I just wanted to explain a little bit about this to you because I like this design because of how traditional it looks, right? Let me hold it close so that you can try to spot the things that they tell you about. This design is made up of many traditional sampler motifs from Holland, oh, not Belgium, Holland, and the Low Countries, and the band patterns to the right of the design, I think that's this over here, is also a typical feature of samplers from this region of Europe. The Dutch maiden or free maiden usually holds a scepter in one hand and the cap of liberty circled by a ribbon in national colors in the other. Generally, she is accompanied by a cat, a creature that never gives up its independence. The Dutch lion and the spinning hat symbolizes strength and steadfastness. They are set in the Garden of Holland, symbol of the Royal House of Orange, which is circular and enclosed by a fence. This motif dates from 1405 or 06 and is connected with the siege of Hagstein, which was protected by a hedge of woven branches. That's really interesting. Things I never knew. A relatively recent group of symbols are the cross, and they have these words, and I'm not going to say them right. So you can see it in the pattern. Geloof, faith or belief. The anchor is hoop or hope. And the heart, which is liefde, love or charity. So those symbols are for those words, which symbolize faith, hope, and charity, which became popular in the first half of the 20th century. So even though they're recent compared to some of the others, that's still before even my mother was born, right? Maybe when my grandmother was still in diapers. um, They were often embroidered on headdress ribbons, particularly for weddings, as were many of the patterns on the right-hand side of this design. The spinning monkey is always seated and was linked with the three fates, who foretell the lot of man and spin out the threads of their lives. The gabled house was often the home of the embroideress, and the chairs represented diligence and hospitality. The great bearers, or spies of Canaan, represent Joshua and Caleb, spies sent by Moses into Canaan. They are also symbolic of the Jews and the Gentiles, whilst the hanging grapes refer to Christ crucified. I mean, I would never have known that if they didn't tell me. This design was named Bois le Duc after the birthplace of the designer's Dutch grandfather. Bois le Duc, the provincial capital of North Brabant in Holland, is now known as Hertogenbosch and was a fortress city until 1876. It was the birthplace of the painter Hieronymus Bosch. Sorry if I said all that wrong, or if you couldn't hear it. Sometimes I make these videos and then find out, oh, couldn't hear any of that. If it's really bad, I'll remake it. If it's just a little bit, probably leave it on this one. This was such a long video to make. So hopefully you could hear that. Anyway, I haven't started this, just got this for Christmas. And I mean, I fell in love with it like this. I probably want to stitch it in red. It's not that it wouldn't be pretty in another color. I know some people do different colors or they do it on an exotic fabric. But I like the striking aspect of red on white. I love red on white. So. Then, this is one I got for Christmas, but which I bought for myself. This is another Reflet de Soie, Ernestine Briere, 1909. Look how pretty. She usually uses Soie d'Alger silk, and I'll probably just keep accumulating that, even though it's pricey, because of how fast I'm making progress on things. I'll just wait until I can afford to get the floss for it. It will, I mean, they're like $5 a skein, and there's several colors plus more than one skein on some of the colors, so kind of an expensive thing when it's done, especially if, like me, you have to unpick a certain amount. Okay, there's something else that I got for myself. This is something that my friend sent to me with the Christmas ornament. She said there's something inside the book, so be sure to notice. And it was the ornament. Okay, so this is Country Christmas Cross Stitch by Elizabeth Perrone, or Perrone. There she is. From Women's Day magazine. Hey, that is a magazine my mom had when I was a kid. Like, I don't know if they still made it when I was a teenager. They did when I was a kid. This is old. Sedgwood Press. It's from 1985. Okay. So it's a huge old book. And it has a bunch of very tiny patterns, like the other book that I showed you in the last video. But I'm thinking of doing a lot of these little tiny motifs that can be made into ornaments to hang on a miniature tree. So I don't know that I'd make them as big as these ornaments are, just really tiny and maybe flat. Anyhow, or maybe like that. Anyhow, so this is very just like classic little things like a hobby horse or Santa Claus. And I'm not going to go through the whole book because I already went through a bunch of the flowers with you. But like it has a little tree skirt, or it has a tree skirt with pigs, outlined pigs. I guess you could stitch them all, like fill them in. But if you wanted to do like an animal or a country kind of a Christmas. I liked on this Christmas stocking, instead of doing it all covered the way it is, I like the idea of doing the mouse and maybe some of the stuff instead of filling it out. Just doing like ornament and each of the things, like maybe up the side, and then you could write something in here instead of doing it exactly the way they had done it. But I still liked that. I thought that was cute. I really liked this one. Very classic looking. And yeah, they have different ones. Like that one's a teddy bear, I guess. Yeah. Some of these have like the different things. I might do it exactly like that, or I might do it a little different. I don't know. So they have like some tablecloths, but actually those are not the tablecloths that I would want to do, or the table runner. They did, however, have these cranberry napkins and placemats. If I ever wanted to cross stitch something that would be done quickly, I could do that. They had like an advent calendar. It was hearts, which I didn't quite understand doing a heart advent for Christmas. But I did like the idea of just tying the candy onto little rings. Here they had like a gingerbread house, or I guess it's not gingerbread, it's an elf house, or just a house. Oh, this was really pretty. I liked the welcome. I said I wasn't going to show you the whole thing. Well, I didn't show you some of the things. I'm just looking to see if there are kittens. So that's, I think, the main thing that I have left. I have a few magazines to show you as well that I got for Christmas. I don't have any more projects to show you, but oh, the quilting thing. If you're not interested, you can go. Thank you for watching. But if you do want to see these things and watch till the end, I love this poinsettia up here. This is a cat in the kitchen, right? I thought that was a really pretty poinsettia. And the border was really pretty. I mean, I liked the whole thing. Yeah. I think in general I like a lot of these patterns. That's the 12 Days of Christmas. You could do the whole thing as a design, which I actually like that. Or you could put them on a stocking or whatever you wanted to do with it. Make ornaments. Um, yeah, so I have this like Christmas scene. I love the deer outside the window. And it's just very unique. Like all the Christmas, or maybe that's a toy shop. It's not. Yeah, that's like Santa's toy shop. Somebody's making toys. Hold on. I got a nativity. Oh, I think on the others there hasn't been a pattern to show you that. There's a nativity scene. Kind of a simple nativity. But I like it though. Then they have some things that I don't know, I'm not as crazy about. But so we'll skip over those. Um yeah, like that might be the last thing to show you. No, I liked these. This. I really like the snowflake, but I also like the dove. A Christmas pig, which you don't find everywhere. This one I wanted to show you. I like both the elves with their unique looking tree and the poinsettia. Um, this is an unusual reindeer. I don't know that I'd make it as a cloth to cover something, but I thought it was kind of cool. Okay, so I wanted to show you this because I thought it was kind of interesting what they were doing. Not, I don't know that I would make something like that to hold my plates particularly. I thought it was an interesting way to display a plate with ribbon holding it. And I'd never considered like cross stitching a ribbon for holding something. But anyway, that had those cute little pigs and hearts. They also have one with apples. I liked the apples. They did like Christmas cards. The Santa is kind of a cute little fat Santa. And if you eat all the treats that people bring you at Christmas, you'd be a little fat Santa yourself. Noel with those little bears. I might do them in more Christmassy colors than that, but I think they're cross stitched, like all of the bears cross stitched. Um, there's, yeah, that's it for that. Okay, that was my friend who got me that. That was so sweet to think of me. And I thought of myself. I was looking at some of my old videos just because I like to remind myself of projects that I said I was going to do and then didn't get around to, so that I will get around to them, or that I had shown like in magazines or books that I thought, oh, I want to do that, but I haven't done them. So I do that sometimes. I just watch a little bit of my video just to remind myself. And one of them was for a magazine called McCall's Cross Stitch Bazaar. And I thought, I only have one of those. I've never seen that magazine anywhere. And I got online on eBay and I came across McCall's. um, Cross Stitch Bazaar, McCall's Creative Crafts Christmas Bazaar, which has some cross stitch in it, but like this one has candle wicking, and McCall's Creative Crafts Country Bazaar, which has a variety of crafts, including cross stitch and but like it has other things. Some are crafts that people don't necessarily really do anymore. And there were two of those. One of them had some chicken scratch. It's even a chicken done in chicken scratch, which was really cool. Plus, like they have various dolls that you can make, and just very some of it's really awesome. Some of it is stuff I'll never do. But anyway, uh, yeah, I'm not going to go through and show you those, but I'll just show you that I have them. Maybe one of these days I will show you those magazines. And they were only $4 each. There were people selling magazines like that exact kind of magazine for like $15 a piece when, they were only $2 or $3 to begin with in the 80s. And that kind of feels like a lot um, for a vintage magazine. So I was happy when I found the lady that was selling them for $4 each. I would have bought a lot more. I was trying to have some restraint. I felt like not having restraint to go ahead and buy myself these magazines after I'd already bought a couple of things for myself for Christmas. But I decided to go ahead. It was a whopping $16 on myself. Okay, the last thing to show you is, I don't know if I said that was the last thing, but it's not. The last thing is I went to our quilt store because I had the holiday that I could do what I wanted. So I could just stop at the quilt store for a little bit and look around and found this cute fabric. And this fabric is going to get cut into like triangles and squares to go in a quilt that is, me with my giant tablecloths, like queen or king size, I don't know, a huge quilt that I'm trying to make for a nephew of mine that has, that'll look great with that. But so it has browns and greens and blues. And so some of the greens are not that green. They're like this green. After buying at the beginning, buying fabrics that have to go like a certain direction or else they're upside down. Um, I wanted to get plenty of fabrics that are like this one. It doesn't matter which direction they're facing. Um, yeah, so like this is one of the fabrics that I got to go with that quilt. And so, you know, that's going to look nice with that camping fabric. Or actually, it does look nice with this green. Not that I'll put it with this green, but to be in the same quilt. That will be nice. Just, yeah. So now is the tricky part for me of getting my lines to match and be sewn the right way and everything. So I had started on it, sewing them together, and I've got things to unpick and redo. But anyway, I started that quilt. Let's see, it's 2026, but I started it about 4 years ago. But it's a big quilt, so there's a lot to cut out and sew. And I have cut out a lot and started sewing it. But it'll be a lot once I start quilting it. But the hardest part, the longest part, I think, really is the cutting out and the sewing, the piecing of the quilt. And then, even though it can take a long time to quilt a quilt, I don't think that actually, I do hand quilt. If you machine quilted, then definitely it wouldn't take as long. But I hand quilt. But I still think even with the hand quilting that it's just there's so much to get those lines to match up when you're sewing. and like cutting the pieces out right and everything. Anyway, I think that's all I have for this video. I have a lot of aspirations with my cross stitch. I looked into whip go and what it is, and the closest I could get to thinking that I would do whip go was thinking, well, I could make up a list of what I wanted to go on my whip go chart, but I don't want to devote or say for sure that this or that thing has to be done when that number is called. But I could say assign the whip go numbers to the projects I wanted to do. Whip go is like bingo for cross stitch, by the way. You come up with like 25 things that you want to accomplish in the year. And when they called 2 and 7 for January, just so you know. So if they call 2 and 7, and I have White Christmas Stocking and Ernestine Briere are the 2 that are done. And then you like have a goal for it. So it could be like, I'm going to do 100 stitches on this. I'm not, but somebody else could say they're going to do 100 stitches on this. Or like here would be like one motif or something. Some people do it like how much time they're going to do, how much stitches they'll do, or how many pages of the design they'll work on. Anyway, they come up with some measure of how much they're going to work on a project or what they're going to do. Okay. I'm just saying, if I were to come up with all these projects, 25 of them, and say they called those 2, if those are not the ones that I want to work on, then I'm going to work on something else. But eventually, by the time they got to the end of the whip go, if I had kept putting this off and done everything else first, like I would cross them off. I just haven't made up my whip go chart or made up my mind. But I think going through these projects, that helps me kind of. I have some projects I didn't show you that I would like to work on, that I've worked on before and shown in videos, or maybe I haven't shown them. But anyway, I'm thinking about possibly doing something like that, because I do have some finishes that I'd like to do, like some pillows I want to make, or a pincushion, or different things, and like that family tree. Would like to get that framed. So maybe I will do a whip go, but it wouldn't be traditional whip go. It would just be like going through my list of things. Let's see. So have a great January. Some of you are doing like blessing samplers. As you can see, I would never get a sampler begun and start finished in the same month, but I'm considering, maybe I would start one because I don't have enough starts yet. Maybe I will start one, and yeah, we'll see if I can get my stuff organized enough. So hopefully I'll see you in another month. We'll make a goal that I make another video at least in another month. If things go well, then I'm able to do that.